It is obvious many do not see the meaning and message behind Star Wars. No wonder its creator came so disillusioned with, and becomes the property of Disney. Maybe it was asking too much of certain people to look at what it's telling you. You need to understand the ways of the writer, Thoth, who is known wrongly as an ancient god, but really was one of the many guardians that back then to people put so much belief in. They were their protectors, the ones who were given a special ability to be able to help Mother Nature in protecting all life, to advise and settle disputes. This would be so needed given the earlier events, though that is told when you are ready to accept it, as this would never be easy, to only know of us, and all we tell you in pieces for you to research. We could just come out and tell you, and expect you to believe it, hoping it would help not just our cause but all humanity. It is what you are taught, why you and the many are made to not accept it. This very clever propaganda set created would confuse people so much that they would not see the one thing their belief in God fears the most, and that is us, that he will be exposed as the fraud he is, and that all you have seen in the saga is actually taking place in front of you in reality. Thus why this story has had to be retold so many times through the long reign of chaos. It is not possible to be able to broadcast this worldwide as just as the films have taught you, how that emperor deceives the republic and takes control of the same resources that has been seen in this world. The prequels though, history tells of how the Sith controlled trade, banks, media, technology, and all this has played out yet again as it did millennia ago, because the saga is a motif, a repeating theme through history, and is why we are able to see beforehand the coming events. All this has been said so many times by its creator that even we wonder if people actually listen. The Clone Wars is so obvious and is still raging today because it was designed to set design just like the Emperor, the perfect deception that many don't see because they are told to look for something, which both not real and designed so that people will not accept it. It is why the saga is attacked by these fanatical religious groups. They are the hate, anger and cause of the wars and destruction of our world but do not see it. They truly are what they preach. If you preach evil then you will see it everywhere. This control is designed to confuse the people to mercy hope when it's right in front of them. This is why many relate it with religion too, and how they see it from a certain point of view which is distorted by their preconceptions and is why the whole film tells of these attachments are the reason for man's downfall. It is so obvious that message but because mainly Americans are the ones whose religious are rising than anywhere in the world, why they most of all do not see it. Why that them in the old world wrote Jedi in place of a religion, as a none of the above, and totally a message to say that, we do not adhere to this control, we will not accept it, we are far past these kinds of mind control, that sparked those who are in control to change tactics. If we cannot control them by fear of gods and demons then, we will control their needs. All this has been warned to you and yet you allow it to happen. The way to see these messages is to look at what they don't say, or allude to, or to see the theme and not the little story. This is what Thoth created and why he is seen as a scribe, for he has to communicate with those who are woken through codes. The same as Britain and her allies did during World War II. It is a way that artists were taught to hide messages within their art. All this came from the many sects around the world that now form the Alliance. Those for generations have passed down these secrets at great cost. They suffered persecution at the hands of the Vatican, and suffered the Inquisitions, also the witch hunts. These things did not happen without reason. Why do you think the path to the retelling started with Atlas Comics? That intervention, like the many more, allowed for the first time people to accept that man can have abilities without being labeled as demons. It would start the whole superhero genre, another way or form of respect, that was known as hero worship. The praise of people to someone for actually doing something brave that helped or saved, yet billions give it to something false for doing nothing at all but the claims of broken promises. Why? Because if it isn't real it cannot do it. It is that simple. Obviously not to too many, but education increased and the religion's nonsense decreases, tells you everything you should already know, and is why only you few, who are woken, will understand this. If it were that simple to just say it outright, it would be giving away that knowledge to those who use it for bad. That is why it is all to be seen at a certain point of view, and just like that saying you know from the saga, is exactly the way we and others are able to communicate. It's because these are noticed and stand out for a reason why they are used, the same way as a secret handshake is described. But to globally and remotely handshake people is not possible. That is why our videos are done in a certain way too, as not to draw attention. To be a secret is that's something that is only known to the initiated. Theirs is no black magic, nor cantations we are accused of, but leave that to the churches. They make people drink blood and eat a body. They are the ones who have their incantations when they all shout the Lord's Prayer. It's the church, the place God can reside, only that these people receive their commands from their Lord, who demands love, praise, and the preacher will tell you of the prophets. The same prophets that, if you look, caused all kind of crimes, killings, and the evil doings that they claim the later created devil does. They chose to commit evil in God's name. Now it is time that we do the real work meant for us, protecting all life from this unnatural teachings that claim so many promises that no one could ever prove. How amazing to be able to say something that no one can prove. We are the basis that the saga comes. It is to reintroduce us back to the world, tell our story, and bring our intentions to the people. This is the saga and what it is really about. Balance is to remove the Sith from power by sharing knowledge, our greatest weapon, that takes away their power to control, and be open to exposure. I speak for the Alliance because I take responsibility for our actions. I am held accountable. I have to answer for mistakes, but I do not control them. All are free to speak up, to say their worries and correct if wrong about something. I can only have the approval of the other 11 in our council. I cannot act alone without responsibility for my actions. That is how all councils of the world should be, and in our governments. This is what real liberty and democracy is. This is the act of civilization at their own understanding and wisdom to do what is best for the people, the nation, and for the world. This is the fundamental principle of society who want to be better. Always to strive for the best, not just you accept it. This is how we lived millennia ago at peace with each other, where justice, peace and no poverty existed long before man allowed God to confuse them. This is the promise we keep, to end this control and hold those responsible to account for their actions. That is what you will see in the future from us, as this world is destroying itself. A warrants intervention. By the powers imposed on me and our newly reformed order, my oath to protect life from dangers of a kind not able to resolve it themselves. By the powers of the cosmos and nature, I hereby commit this Lord of Chaos to trial, whereby the acts against humanity will be judged and fair treatment of the verdict will be final and resolved. To those of this leadership you will be held accountable if the forementioned fails to commit thyself before its judgment, and therefore be forwarded unto you the same fair trial, and its verdict be correct, be sentenced by. In the name of humanity and all life I commit thee.